this is Can't Always Cook, and in today's video I'm going to be looking at what I imagine to be a very common yet very annoying problem. You've got your tea all made, your toast is all ready to go, and then you find out there's no butter. That can be so frustrating, but it really doesn't need to be a problem. Of course you can run to the shops and get some, but what if you want to be creative and make your own? It's so much easier than you might imagine. Okay, it's a bit labor intensive and it takes maybe about half an hour, but if you've got the time and you're going to be watching a bit of TV anyway, you might want to give it a go. So here's how to do it. So these are the 3 things you're going to need to make the butter. Very simple, as I said. So what I've got here is some thick cream, and this is Heidelberg cream I got from the Notting Hill Farmers Market. I love this stuff. I got some sea salt. Obviously if you're going to make unsalted butter you won't be needing that. And finally a jar for shaking. You might also need some ice, but we'll come to that later. Okay, now making the butter is simply a question of shaking the cream until it turns to butter. It is literally as simple as that. So what I'm going to do is just pour the cream into this jar. Now this is just a Lloyd Grossman curry, but I chose this jar basically because it's got this little ridge over here and it makes it so much easier for gripping and shaking, which I'll show you in a minute. So pour that all in. Now we're going to want to keep the container aside, I'll tell you more about that later. And we're going to close it up and basically just shake it and shake it and shake it until you start to see things change. Now, I forgot to tell you that I left the cream out of the fridge for about 6 hours so that it starts to turn a little bit sour. You don't want it to go off, you don't want to leave it out for, you know, a day or two, but just leave it out for a good couple of hours so that the cream starts to go a bit sour, and that gives the butter its slightly, I don't know, I guess sweet taste or something. I can't remember exactly how it works, but yeah, just give it a good shake. Okay, it's just occurred to me that maybe I should time this just to give you guys some reference points for the length of time the different stages take. So I've been shaking for about 2 minutes now, but I've just started the timer. Okay, so it's been about a minute and a half on here, and so 3.5 minutes altogether. And now we've gotten to the stage where the cream is so thick now that I'm having to use slamming motions to get the cream from one side of the bottle to the other. And so at this stage you want to be really quite aggressive with it, just making sure that you are actually moving the cream, because if I'm going like this now, it's not really making much of a difference. So you really want to be aggressive with it, take out all your frustrations. If you didn't manage to make it to the gym, this is really good exercise. I feel like I'm working up a sweat already. Okay, so now it's been a good few minutes, 11.5, so 13.5 altogether. And you can see the shirt has come off. It's rigorous exercise, and you can see now that I don't know if you can see in the lighting, but it has started to split a little bit. You can see lines of slightly darker yellow than the rest of the cream, which means we're almost there, so keep going. I'm beginning to realise now I should maybe have chosen a bigger container, because the butter doesn't really have, or the cream at the moment, doesn't really have that much room to manoeuvre around this jar. A lot of effort this is taking. Wrong jar choice, I think. 25 minutes in, and we are getting to the buttermilk stage now, I think. The butter is starting to sort of slide away from the ends of the jar, if you can see that. And so we're very close now. Yep. Okay, we're there. Oh, that took a while. Okay, so now you can see the buttermilk starting to come out. So what we want to do is really vigorously shake this to get it all out. By the way, that's what we're saving the empty container for, so we can just pour it straight back in. And you can see that in there. So let's start pouring that away. Okay, so you want to try and get as much of that out of the butter as possible, because if you leave some in, you find that the butter goes off quite a bit quicker than you'd hope. It doesn't last very long if it's got that buttermilk in there. So just keep going, trying to get as much of it out as possible. It is pretty difficult to get every last bit of it out. And so at this stage, what some people do is put the butter in some cold water, wash it with cold water until the water runs clear. So I've never done that before. I think I might do that. Oops. Oh dear. You do want to make sure that the lid is on properly before you start shaking it. What I'm going to do is just transfer that into a bowl and there we go. That is the butter right there. Still got a few droplets of buttermilk in there, so haven't quite managed to get all of it out. And so I am going to try the ice bath and we'll see how that goes. So in here I've got some ice cubes and I'm just going to chuck in some water from the fridge. I do have to confess I've never done this particular bit before. But as I say, if you're not able to get all the water, all the buttermilk out, it does make it go off quite quickly. So I want to see if this actually makes any difference. So I guess I'm just going to put it in there and I'm going to transfer it there. So I'm just going to give it some gentle squeezes. And as soon as it starts to transfer to the paper, I'm going to put it back in the water, just so it can harden again. So I'm going to grab the first piece again. Using a knife, I'm going to cut it up into little pieces and just pat those ones. Pat those dry and then transfer them back into the bowl I was using before. And that is that. So here are my pieces of butter, looking, well, just like butter really. And so what I'm going to do now is flavour it. Now I've just chosen to make salted butter, but at this stage you can do whatever you like to it. Make garlic butter, whatever it is you choose. It is quite cold now. I'm going to leave it for a while to soften up again and then we'll add the salt to it. Okay, so it's been a couple of minutes and the butter doesn't seem to have softened that much. It is a bit cold in here, as you can see. I've got a shirt back on. So what I'm going to do is, I've got this rubber bag. I'm just going to grab that and use the warmth of my hands to soften it up a bit. Okay, so now I feel like I've got the butter to a much more workable consistency. I'm going to chuck it back into the bowl. I'm going to give it a few good shakes of salt. About that much. And you just want to taste and go. And there you have it. Homemade butter with little or no effort. Okay, that's a bit of a lie. It is a bit labor intensive, but it's so satisfying to see that, you know, my hands made this. From cream into butter. It fascinates me. So I'm going to tip the butter onto the scales, whoopsie. And we've got 135 grams of butter from what was 10 ounces or 284 milliliters of cream. So there you have it. In terms of prices actually, the cream cost me £2.40 and you can get Huddlesbrook butter for I think £2 for 500 grams. So it's a bit more expensive to make it this way, but it's fun and it's always nice to be able to say that I've made my own butter. So I hope this has inspired you to get out there and try it yourself. If nothing else, it's great just to be able to say that you've been able to do it. It really feels personally satisfying to be able to create that, something that you'd normally only buy in the shops. And all that's left, as per usual, is to enjoy it, which I definitely will. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!